thank you everybody for joining. I'm sure you all know me. I'm Steve Harley. I'm from ACS. Most of you are partners or prospective partners and customers of ours. And we have also on here some support from our distributor, Stephen Gifford. So thank you for that, Stephen. Should you ask any questions I can't answer, he is the oracle on this particular topic, which is Microsoft's new commerce experience. The vast majority of people probably haven't heard of NCE, but you have probably heard of CSP. So CSP is Microsoft's program for selling the Microsoft 365 suite of licenses. Office 365 is part of that. Microsoft Azure as well, through the reseller channel, and it's probably the single largest channel and method that people use to purchase the licenses. And you will probably be buying Microsoft 365 licenses from ourselves or somebody similar to us, and you'll be paying for those monthly. This has been going on for a number of years, and Microsoft announced last year that they would have some changes at the beginning of this year that they were bundling up and calling their new commerce experience. And so really what we want to do is just tell you all about those changes, what they mean for you in real terms, and what you can do to kind of mitigate the impact where it's not so good, and take advantage of those things that are. So there's two major changes to the Microsoft CSP program. First of all, there is a global price increase on some of the most popular licensing products for commercial clients. This doesn't yet affect anybody in the third sector or anybody buying government charity licensing, but certainly for businesses, there is a global price increase that comes into effect at the beginning of March, and we'll speak a little bit about that. The second major change is a fundamental change to the contractual arrangements around CSP and how that works. It's going to remove a fair bit of flexibility that we, particularly in the UK, enjoy at the moment when it comes to our Microsoft licensing. And we'll speak about those as well as we go through. So the first big thing really is probably just go for the key dates of how these things come into force. In January, general availability for the new NCE subscriptions, so those are those new agreements with the new terms and conditions, became available. On the 1st of March, we have the price increases come into effect. From the 10th of March onwards, all new Microsoft licensing subscriptions that are bought through CSP, the reseller channel, will really be subject to the NCE subscription terms. So the old terms and conditions that we enjoy at the moment, you won't be able to start a new subscription from the 10th of March. And from the 30th of June, any CSP renewals that come along will have to be on the new NCE platform anyway, the new NCE terms and conditions. Hopefully this is going to become a little bit clearer as I go through this, because there are a few moving parts and it's tricky to explain, but hopefully you'll get your head around it. So let's deal with the price increases because they're quite simple, and pretty much everybody can understand the concept of a price increase. Microsoft have announced back in August that they were going to increase the pricing globally of some key SKUs, some key products. Those products being Microsoft 365 Business Basic, the Business Premium, Office 365 E1, E3, E5, and Microsoft 365 E3. These are the most popular SKUs. Those prices, price increases that have been announced, have only been announced so far in US dollars, and they amount from SKU to SKU, it varies, but they amount from between 8 and 28%. We don't know exactly what that translates to in pounds and pence for those SKUs. We'll know that probably a few days before the 1st of March, when they re-release the price book for that period, but it will be in that order, translated for whatever the prevailing exchange rate is. We don't know whether there's going to be further increases beyond those SKUs. But we would imagine that Microsoft are going to take the opportunity to kind of realign all of the existing SKUs to whatever exchange rate is prevailing at that time at a minimum. So we're kind of anticipating that could be, anywhere between 10 and 25%, as Microsoft hasn't done a full price repricing for best part of a decade in the States anyway, albeit they have made small adjustments for exchange rate changes in the UK and abroad. So those are the price changes. So one of the things we all want to kind of think about is how we can mitigate that impact to ourselves, and we'll come on to that. But those products are going up in price from the 1st of March for those people that aren't locked in. So what that will mean is if you come to sign a new agreement or renew an agreement after the 1st of March, you'll be subject to those price increases. So what about the terms and conditions and the new commerce experience? Well, what's effectively happened up until this point is under CSP in the UK, whilst you agreed to purchase the Microsoft licenses for a year, you could pay either annually or monthly, and you had pretty much unfettered control to adjust those licensing numbers upwards or downwards every month. So you could go from 20 users in January to 50 users in February and back down to 5 users in March without penalty. However, Microsoft are looking to change that, and for all the new commerce agreement terms, which we're going to end up having to sign, even if you wait until after June on your next renewal, you will lose that flexibility unless you're willing to pay a premium. So there'll be 3 different periods of subscription. There will still be the monthly subscription where you pay monthly, and you can increase and decrease as is you'll want every month. However, over and above the price increases that I've just spoken about on the previous slide, Microsoft are going to charge a 20% premium for that privilege. So if I want to continue to be able to go up from 20 users to 50 users back down to 5 users, as is my one, then I will pay a 20% premium for that. That gives the benefit of that is you get the flexibility. Obviously, that's a significant increase in cost compared to what we're all used to paying for that up until now. The other option is 12-month subscriptions, and these launch again from January, so you're able to take out subscriptions under NCE from now for 12 months. That locks your price in at the prevailing price, and again, you can pay monthly or annually, subject to status and some terms and conditions. You can still increase your seats as you may want each month, but you can't decrease them. So probably the best way of kind of just highlighting that it's the prevailing rate, and you can put in a contract today. So there's an opportunity here for you to delay the impact of those price increases that are coming in March, and we'll speak about that in a moment. The third type of subscription is a 36-month subscription. Microsoft aren't going to release this until at least the second quarter of this year. That will allow you the option to pay monthly, annually, or the whole contract up front. Again, you will only be able to increase your seats, not decrease. But again, you're going to lock in your price at that point for 3 years, 36 months. Sam, I'll come back on to open licensing and speak about where that's going just in a moment. I've got a question there. So those are the kind of the different plans. What we're kind of saying to people at the moment is that there's an opportunity here to delay the impact of those price increases. So if you were to take out a 12-month agreement on the new NCE terms before the end of February, you could lock in the present prices. for 12 months. And so avoid that. You will lose that flexibility that you enjoy at the moment to move down, but certainly, there's an opportunity there for us to protect ourselves as much as we can. Some other key points. If you have with an existing CSP agreement, they will run until their renewal date. So whenever you took out a CSP agreement, at that point you entered into theoretically a 12-month contract, as I was saying previously, albeit in the UK, none of those terms were ever seriously enforced by Microsoft. And you will have a renewal date. Now that renewal date might be in August, in which case your CSP agreement at present will run from August till August. So that will run through that period. The monthly pay the thing is that when you get into August, you will then have to sign up onto the new agreement terms at the new rates. So that is the case. You could also re-sign in or renew your CSP in say May, and you'd keep that flexibility. But again, you'll be subject to the prevailing price rate. So there's a little bit of a trade-off there. Do I want to hold on to flexibility by paying the extra price? The other couple of things that have come to light over the last few weeks and months, we understand that for those people that are buying direct from Microsoft, so this is people that are putting credit card details into the Microsoft Office 365 portal, that the monthly payment option for 12-month subscriptions will be subject to a significant uplift as well. So that will that will really drive a lot of business, we think, towards the reseller market. But with that and with these new contract conditions, there will be actual physical agreements that will need to be signed, albeit we can do them digitally, signing up to those new terms if you want to enter into a 12-month, certainly anyway. So there is some more paperwork that will need to be done. Given that, and given that there will be a rush on for everybody to get signed in February if they want to delay that cost, we're encouraging people to speak early and make their decisions early and not leave it to the last moment. Now, just to address one of the questions that Sam's raised, this is different to the open licensing program and the enterprise agreements, albeit open licensing is being discontinued and retired bit by bit. So CSP and Microsoft NC will be the program through which licensing will be moving forwards. That's Microsoft's strategy in the long run. So what are our options to mitigate this, and what can we do to kind of reduce that? As I say, if you enter into a 12-month agreement for the new NC licensing prior to the end of February 2022, you will delay the impact of the price increases. You can also mix and match your licensing agreements. So you could go, say I'm an organization of 100 users today. I could say I want to put 80 of those users on a 1-year agreement and secure the 1-year price. And I could take 20 of those users on the rolling monthly agreement. So that would give me complete flexibility to reduce those 20 users down. So if I know there's change coming and I'm going to need to reduce, I can, hedge my pricing and reduce it and minimize it, and to do that if I want. So that's certainly an option as well. And then the other big thing is to review your licensing consumption, making sure that the licensing that you're purchasing, is what you need and no more than you need, because going down will no longer be an easy thing to do. There are a number of customers out there that I'm aware of who haven't necessarily been super hot on making sure that they're closing down those licenses, when people are no longer using them. So those steps, let's get those done before you enter into agreement so that you minimize the kind of the cost. So That's it in a really quick nutshell. Um, Hopefully, I've explained that rather convoluted situation. Does anybody have any questions that they would like to raise? The chat is open, or if you want to raise your hand, then happy to put you on as speaker as well. No, that's good. As Sam was just also asking a question around software assurance. It's a little bit different under CSP and the NCE terms that the software insurance is kind of built in. Um, but we can go into those details. We have the licensing team available to speak in more detail around them. Okay. There are some other tweaks around the actual licenses themselves. There are, you may be familiar with the audio conferencing license that you've used to bolt on so that people could dial in. That has been integrated into a number of these. So that's part of the kind of the justification of some of the price rise. But there are some other minor tweaks. But for the vast majority of you, these are the headlines. These are the things that people will be most concerned about. We are speaking to all of our customers. This webinar is part of that education process. We've contacted and will continue to contact you all and hopefully work with you to make sure that you're buying at the best prices that we can offer, and have the right terms and conditions in place. However, this situation isn't unique to ACS. This is the whole reseller community across the globe. I think the UK is apparently slightly more affected because we, in the UK, traditionally Microsoft haven't enforced the ability to terms around not moving licenses down below a certain level. So we do still seem to feel it more in this country. But that's really it. So if there are no other questions, I will close. Okay. Well, look, thank you all for joining. Hopefully it's been useful and gives you the opportunity to make the right decisions for your businesses and organizations. We will circulate this recording and the slides. We are here to help to work through the ramifications of these changes. And I hope you all have a very good day. Thank you very much.